Hello, and welcome to the continuing episodes of Diamond Mountain's How to Do Retreat at Home. I'm Venerable Gelsay,
I'm Venerable Sunam.
and today we're going to talk about food. But let me first give you a quick review of what we did in our last video. We talked about what kind of retreat you can do, like a 3-day retreat or a week retreat or a study retreat. We talked about how to prepare your space for this retreat and what to take into your retreat. And once you're in retreat, how to create your inner and outer boundaries. So if you missed those, go to video 3, and that's where we talk about those things. So today, as I said, our topic that we're going to cover is food. It's about what to eat, how much to eat, and how it affects your body. Sunam, would you like to talk about what do you eat during retreat?
Yes, I am the pasta queen, and I bought piles of pasta before I went into retreat. And then I figured out during retreat, my body needs something else during retreat. I lived 3 months on dal, lentils, and a salad twice a day. So the first advice I can give you, figure out what your body needs in retreat. Most of the time, it might be something different than when you lead your normal life. So it's also about experimenting and figuring out what nourishes your body and your mind during retreat, that you can meditate good. This might be different. So it also goes to what is recommended. We can give you recommendations, but you need to figure out what really suits your body, your condition, your energy in retreat, and what you need to have good meditations. So the first thing is really proteins. So you might consider having cheese, having tofu, even if a lot of people say tofu might not be the best thing for their body during retreat. Just try it out what suits you. A lot of vegetables, green leaves, vitamins, try to get it as fresh as possible. It really helps you to concentrate, especially green leaves. And that says the pasta queen, green leaves. So maybe you want to try it out. One thing is to refrain from sugar. So don't pile up too many sweets, pile up a few sweets, because sometimes you need a retreat. During retreat, you need to treat yourself, but it should be maybe every second or third day. Otherwise, sugar really makes your meditation so nervous, so busy. It's hard to concentrate if you eat a lot of sugar. And also, I personally love fruits. I love bananas, I love oranges, which have a lot of sugar. I even cut down on fruits during retreat because they really steer up your mind in a direction you don't want to have during meditation. But the first rule of all, figure it out what really suits you.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure,
That when
always.
you do have sweets, that you think about how you're bringing sweetness into others' lives.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Gelse. That's very, very nice. Regarding carbs, I think, Gelse, you have special advice regarding carbs. As said, I'm the pasta queen. I don't say a lot here, but maybe you have a few tips.
Well, I think what's really important is what you said, that treat this like an experiment. You know, you're the scientist, get to know your body and what works for it. Simple carbs, complex carbs, a lot of times complex carbs will give you more energy, whereas simple carbs will give you high energy and spike and then drop off. But not everybody's body's different, you know, so you have to find out what works for your own body. That's really the baseline. What works for you? So part of your meditation retreat may very well be figuring out what works for you in meditation, as far as sitting and eating and sleeping, all of these things.
And that would be the recommendation for the shopping list. Add a few things you normally don't buy and don't eat, because you might experience in retreats that suddenly other things are really feeding and nourishing your body. One tip when it comes to coffee, if you are drinking more than 2 or 3 cups coffee per day, or if you are drinking 2 or 3 cups, uh, don't stop drinking coffee from one day to the next. You might experience headache from withdrawal. So my recommendation, if you're really a coffee drinker, maybe have 1 cup in the morning and that's it. And maybe even try to get rid of that cup of coffee after a few days. But if you have a headache and you are really a coffee drinker, it might be due to withdrawal. So try to get it out slowly out of your system.
And you know, it's not just coffee drinkers, it's also people who drink black tea, which has, I am told, a larger amount of caffeine in it. So it's not just coffee drinkers, it's people who drink black tea as well. You know, try and find some substitute for it. There's lots of nice herbal teas out there and things. As Sunam said, be really careful about the withdrawals.
Yeah. The next one is dairy. A lot of milk. A lot of us vegetarians eat a lot of yogurt and cheese. Try to figure out what is the amount. Sometimes you get, I personally, if I eat too much cheese, I'm getting really sleepy and heavy. So this is really stuff, just figure it out. If you're eating dairy normally, just maybe figure out during the retreat how much is good for your meditations. What's always for most people good in retreat is having oily food. We are sitting so much, there's so much energy building up, so that you need to have oily foods to be grounded. And this can come in form of oil, can come in form of butter or nut butters like almond butter or peanut butter. It can also be popcorn with a lot of butter. So you know which kind of oily food you like, have it on hand. And if you notice that you are getting nervous in retreat, then really regulate this with oily food. What's always nice is fresh fruits. They give you a lot of energy, and also fresh, pure water. I personally love especially hot water. It really helps my system much more than cold water. I go here with the Asian and Ayurveda recommendation. Is there food I should avoid during a retreat, Gyalse? You are the food specialist. Please help us out here.
Well, I don't know if you should avoid them. Again, it's got to be an experiment. So it's about what is recommended to avoid. And so some of those things are anything that is loaded with negative karma, the killing of animals, to a lesser degree, dairy and honey. So, you know, think about it and also experiment and see what works for you. I have known some people who, especially for lung, have eaten meat because it helps to really ground them, and yet, you know, see if you're absorbing that negative energy into yourself and how it affects your mind and your body. You can, again, it's recommended to avoid any kind of foods that would cause mucus and phlegm to build up. For some of us, that's wheat, things with gluten in it. Some of us, that's dairy. I know in my own retreats, I would eat dairy and then I would become vegan for a while. You know, it was like whatever my body was asking me for, and then it would be too much. So then I would cut it out again and use other things. You might find, as Sunam said, soy products, tofu and things, they may not be easy to digest. So what do you use? You know, this is what you have to figure out as a vegetarian. So pay attention, observe, be the scientist, put yourself underneath the microscope and see what works. Take this opportunity to learn more about how different foods affect you, and especially in retreat. We've talked about sugars, but especially processed sugars. And simple sugars, like with simple carbohydrates, they can raise you up and drop you down pretty easily. Again, it's not the same for everybody. Sunam already talked about caffeine if possible. And then there's always this big question, what about garlic and onions?
Mm-hmm.
So it's generally recommended to avoid them because they can create an unnecessary amount of heat in the body. And that can be very agitating and disturbing to your meditation. Also, if you eat a lot of garlic, especially raw garlic, it comes out through the pores in your skin. And the smell, in fact, can be irritating and agitating to you, right? So
I
again,
remember, yes.
even if you're in your own retreat, you know, if you're with others, it's really important not to eat garlic because it can be very overwhelming for someone who is not used to eating a lot of garlic.
Mm.
Beans, as vegetarians, many of us rely upon beans for our protein. Again, they can be difficult to digest. It just depends. So sometimes lentils are easier to digest than beans. And so just check it out, experiment with it, and you'll find out quickly whether, you know, they work for you or not. And also in moderation, take things in moderation. And for me, one of the, as like Sunam, one of the basic things in my diet during retreat was something called khichdi, which is basically a combination of lentils and usually rice, or you could use quinoa, which is also high in protein. And so it helps, you know, to give you protein. So a mixture of that. Check out some recipes online if you don't know what khichdi is. And I also found soups were really good. I liked having soup. So I would do soup and a steamed vegetable or a salad, khichdi with a steamed vegetable or a salad. So these are some of our recommendations and ideas. And another recommendation is really to keep it simple. Don't start planning big ornate dinners for yourself. Keep it simple, maybe make enough for several days, and then you don't have to think about it. And there's such a freedom in that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to think about it. It's like you just go and you open the refrigerator, you take your jar of khichdi or your soup out, you put it on the stove, and there's your meal, right? And it really frees the mind up, because otherwise you're going to be sitting there in your meditation session before lunch thinking about, oh, what am I going to have for lunch today, right? And so we try to avoid that because that's not really the object we want to be meditating on. So try and keep it simple. Go shopping several days before you retreat. Add some extra little treats. If you want to do a special meal, plan for that. And, you know, to celebrate, like I'm halfway through the retreat. But again, be careful because you don't want to knock yourself off of your meditation cushion.
Yeah. Thank you. Just a short recap. We talked about recommendations, what to eat, but always listen to your body, what it needs, and follow it. A recommendation, what we experience and other people experience is not good to eat. And third recommendation is also figure out what is the correct amount that you are still able to meditate good. And another warning, retreat time is not diet time. So you need to eat enough that you can really have, you are supporting your body and your mind, that you can have a good retreat, but not too much that you are not getting too sleepy and lazy in your retreat. So we don't want that. So
and it takes a lot of energy to do a meditation retreat, right?
Yeah. Concentration needs a lot of calories. That's why sometimes we build in a chocolate meditation. Just enjoy eating a piece of chocolate and meditate on it, how good it tastes. Have the freedom to do that.
What if you're sleepy or drowsy during your retreat, while you're meditating? What do you recommend?
When I'm sleepy and drowsy during my meditation, I normally get up and stretch a little bit. In my case, because I have really low blood pressure, it's most of the time that just my blood circulation needs a kick. So I get up, do 3 or 4 yoga poses, and then I sit on the cushion again.
What about in terms of what you're eating?
Overeating. In my case, it's not what I'm eating. When I'm overeating, then I'm getting really, really sleeping. So this is for me personally, it's overeating.
So eat less if you're feeling drowsy and sleepy
Yeah.
would be your recommendation, right?
Yeah. And if you're nervous, eat more oil. Yeah.
Right. If you're feeling lightheaded or you get a tightness in your chest or you're over emotional, eat something to ground you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eat more and eat something to ground you.
That's also a short preview, which Venerable Gyaltsen gives us here. It's a condition which is called in Tibetan lung, which is really when you build up too much energy with your meditation. And we have a separate video for this where you will get separate advice how to recognize it, that it does not build up too much, and how you treat that energy that you can have the balance in your retreat. But the next video we will release will be about the schedule. I think you are looking all forward to this video, how to build your schedule for your retreat. So this will be the next one. So we're done with our food advices. And we would like to finish the video with a short meditation you can do with every bite you have during your retreat. And also you can do with every food and meal you have not being in retreat. So please sit upright, close your eyes. The spine is straight, shoulders relaxed. Your eyelids are totally relaxed. Your cheeks are soft. Put your concentration on the tip of your nose and watch the breath coming in and out. And then imagine sitting at the table in your meditation space, having a plate with food in front of you. Then you take the first bite. Imagine how nourishment enters your body. Nourishment of your body, your heart, and your mind. And it helps you to have a successful retreat. And then you are able to fulfill the goal of your retreat, to help others. Come back to your breath. 3 long exhales. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you so much for watching. Make a very creative food list for your retreat. And we see you in our next video, how to make the schedule for your retreat. And by the way, sometimes meditation is better than chocolate is better than meditation. And sometimes meditation is better than chocolate. Decide what's right for you in the moment.
Thank you, Sunam.
Thank you, Gelse. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
See everyone in the next video. Bye.